This is a review of writing linear equations in word problems. First of all, pause the video and read these two examples and think about whether you believe these are examples using slope-intercept form, point-slope form, or standard form. Then restart the video and I'll walk through them with you. Okay, if you said that these two examples would use standard form for linear equations, you would be correct. Remember that standard form is when you notice two things being added together to come up with a constant total. What we've got here is Tanisha and Rachel, first of all, both ordering some pizza and some cola and then coming up with a total. So Tanisha spent $6. Rachel also ordered pizza and cola and her total was $5.25. In the second example, Hans rented two things, a sprayer and a generator. It talks about each piece of equipment being used, and it comes up with a total amount of money for his first job and a total amount of money for his second job. So again, that's a good a good way to see that these will be in standard form. So remember, standard form looks like this: ax plus by equals c. And the other thing I want to remind you is to always look at the question itself to try to come up with what your variables x and y represent. Since the question in this first one says, what was the price of one slice of pizza and one cola? So our two variables here for x and y is going to be the price of pizza and then the price of cola for x and y. So the two equations should look like this. Tanisha ordered 3 slices of pizza, and again, x is the price of one slice of pizza, so 3 times whatever that price is, plus she ordered 2 colas, so 2 times whatever the price is of a cola, which we said was y. Together that adds up to the total bill that Tanisha spent, which was $6. The second equation is about Rachel's order. She ordered 2 slices of pizza, so 2 times the price of a piece of pizza, plus she ordered 3 colas for the price, 3 times the price of each cola. She spent a total of $5.25. At this point, we're just writing the equations, we're not solving. That would be in a later video. The second example with Hans, again, renting a sprayer and a generator. On his first job, he used each piece of equipment for 6 hours, each piece for 6 hours, for a total cost of $90. So this time what we're using is x and y, and let's think about this for a minute. The question is, what was the hourly cost of each piece of equipment? So x here would be the hourly cost for, let's say, the sprayer, and then y would be the hourly cost for the generator. All right, so each piece of equipment on the first job, let's go back to that one. On the first job, he used each piece of equipment for 6 hours. So 6 hours for the sprayer, the cost of the sprayer is x, plus 6 hours for whatever the cost is per hour for the generator. And altogether, he spent $90. In the second one, on his second job, it says here, he used the sprayer for 4 hours. So again, the sprayer is x, so 4 hours times the cost of the sprayer, plus the generator he used for 8 hours, so 8 hours times the price per hour for the generator, and a total cost of $100. Again, when you see those totals, $6, $5.25, $90 and $100, that is again a way to remember that we're going to be using standard form. Okay, so now read these two examples and see what form you think they should be written in. Okay, so Janie noticed that after 2 hours of work, she had sold 18 tickets. Then, 5 hours into her shift, she had sold 53 tickets. So if the trend continues in that same way, about how many tickets will she have sold after 8 hours is the question. So What you should notice in this example, and in the next one, which we'll get to in a second, is that we have 2 data points. So 2 hours of work, 18 tickets. 5 hours of work, 53 tickets. Those are data points. So when we know we're talking about data points, so after 2 hours of work, she sold 18 tickets. And then after 5 hours of work, she sold 53 tickets. We're talking about which form? Well, yeah, point slope. Point slope form is the one that, again, the point is obvious, which we definitely have a point here. We have 2 of them. We could use either one. And the second thing is that you know the slope. Now, we don't know the slope right now, but we can find the slope by using the slope formula. So remember that the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. When we take our values from our 2 data points we got from the directions, we put them in as follows. 53, our second y value, minus 18, our first y value, over 5, our second x value, minus 2, our second our first x value. So when we subtract, we get 35 over 3. And we can change that into a mixed number, or we can just leave it as a improper fraction, or we could change it to a decimal. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as a decimal, and we're going to write our equation, which we're going to do in point slope form again. So I'm going to use this point right here, just use the first one, 218. When I write my equation, I'm going to write y minus 18 equals 35 over 3 times x minus 2. I realize now that I mentioned at the beginning of the video that these were in system format, and this is not a system right here. These 2 examples are not systems. All right. Again, we're not going to answer the question about how many tickets after 8 hours, because right now we're just practicing writing the equations. The second example says, when a restaurant opened, it was serving an average of 72 customers a day. After 60 days, it was serving an average of 124 people a day. How many customers would you predict it would serve after 120 days? All right, so again, you should notice input, output. So on opening day, 72 customers. After 60 days, 124 customers. So our points here, the second one is more obvious. After 60 days, 124 customers. The first point's a little bit trickier. We know there were 72 customers, but there's no other numerical value in our problem. But that's because it says when a restaurant opened. So that would be right away as it opened, so 0, because it's opening day. It kind of feels like it should be a 1 in this situation, but we're going to count that as 0 days after it opened. Once again, we would need to find our slope. So we're going to say m equals, I'm not going to write the formula out, I'll just write the second y value minus the first y value over the second x value minus the first x value. So we have 52 over 60. Again, I can use either point. This time I'm actually going to go ahead and use this point here. I'm going to write my equation. Y minus the y value, 124, equals the slope, 52 over 60, times the x minus the x value of 60. Here's our last page of examples. Again, pause the video. Think about what the equation form would be, maybe even try to write them if you'd like, and then restart the video. Okay, so Ramon needs to rent a moving truck. Suppose Company A charges a rate of $40 per day, and Company B charges a $60 fee plus $20 a day. For what number of days is the cost the same? I'm kind of going back to looking at the question itself. What number of days is the cost the same? That will help us, again, look at our X and Y value. X being the number of days and Y being the cost. Now what you should notice on this one is we're talking about like a rate of $40 per day. So one day is $40, another 2 days is $80, etc. So we're adding a consistent number over and over, and that should make you think about a rate of change. When we have a rate of change and a starting amount or original amount, we should use slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form looks like this: y equals mx plus b. Again, our starting value being b and our slope being m. So for this one, company A charges a rate of $40 per day. Notice they don't have a starting amount before adding that 40 days on. So this one might seem a little bit tricky at first. But what it's going to be is y, which again is the, y, which is the the cost, is going to be simply $40 per day. So $40 is our slope, $40 per day, times x, the number of days. There's no plus b value here. Company B charges $60 fee plus $20 a day. So the total cost for Company B is a $60 fee plus $20 per day. Again, x being number of days. You could also have switched this around and wrote y equals 20x plus 60. The last example, you and a pilot friend decide to rent an airplane to do some sightseeing. One service charges $100 plus $80 per hour, while another charges $250 at first, up front, plus $70 per hour. What number of hours is the cost the same? Again, number of hours, cost. So that's what we're using for x and y. Well, the first company, the cost will be $100 plus $80 per hour, x being, again, the number of hours. And the second company, total cost will be $250 plus $70 per hour. And again, later on we'll learn how to solve these. Keep practicing.